And welcome to the Everyday Board Game Podcast with your host, Daniel.
And Daniel.
Daniel, I'm going to give you a heads up. We talked about this a little bit before, but my voice is a little questionable. Mm-hmm. So if listeners of the podcast...
Your voice is always questionable. That's beside the point.
Right. But it's on a lower octave than it normally is. Just so everybody knows here, I helped out my friends move some stuff, and we had some wind lately, so my allergies are getting me. If it sounds like I'm a little bit different today, that's why. I want to give a heads up on that, just in case I randomly pass out during the podcast. It's not just because of his list this time. It'll be because of the allergy medicine I'm on as well.
Or the lightsaber.
Which
is within reach.
He is choosing for me to pass out during this point. Portion of today's episode is brought to you by... So, Daniel, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a while since we recorded. We took last week off, as we mentioned, in the podcast and for our live audience, because I had a trip to go on to, as you can tell by the new hat.
That's right. Oh, I didn't even... Now I noticed the new hat. I mean, in my defense, right?
I have so many.
You have enough hats where we could go through about 2 seasons and without getting a repeat. Am I wrong on that, give or take?
We can go probably through a season, maybe a season and a half.
The season is about 50 episodes.
Rough, give or take. Well, we record 4 episodes a month.
Yeah.
About 52 episodes a year, I guess, give or take.
Yep.
I have about 70 hats. So, like I said, about
season and a half.
Season and a half. Though I've been getting more. So, I have one in the garage right now that's just been sprayed. I'm just letting it dry out. So, because I put... a chemical to keep the, if water gets on it, it beads. It's like the Rain-X for hats and stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
do all the pro baseball players wear that too? Or no? Are they allowed to?
I don't know if they're allowed to. I don't think they do. I think there is... I think what I'm using is what a lot of people do use because it helps protect the hat. Like, there was a time... I think it was in... when I was on the Alaskan trip. We were raining in Sitka when we were there, and so I was wearing my Northwest Arkansas Naturals hat.
Yeah.
And all you could see is the water just beating up, and after a while it started getting soaked through. But it does what it needs to do, and it protects my hat. Kept my head pretty dry till towards the end of it, and then. It does what it needs to do. I get one from, I think the brand's called Crep, not sponsored, but I highly recommend it if you're a hat collector.
If you want to sponsor us, send your email.
It's good for dirt and stuff like that. Man, that's the main reason I use it out here is because we live in a desert. It's dusty, as he's complaining about right now. So it's been very helpful lately. So.
And happy first days of fall as well.
Yeah, Saturday was the first day of fall. So, for our audience listeners, we record ahead of time. It gives us a bit of a buffer, too, because, like I said, I just had that trip, and I'll go into it a little bit more. And then you have a thing coming up in a couple weeks where you're going to be gone to run your escape room.
That's right.
So tell the people about that one. This way they can go find out. This episode will actually air after you're there. So
okay, well,
for the live audience,
for any of our live audience, or any of our audience, really, if you happen to hear this early somehow, every year we are invited to the Yuma convention, or it's called YumaCon for short. Yuma, Arizona puts on this con every year. It is for comic book enthusiasts, video game, general nerds, all around, geek society. And it's for Yuma, Arizona. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, Yuma, Arizona is not the biggest place, but I do want to give them a shout out because
it is one of the hottest places.
It is one of the hottest places. It is the leafy green capital of the United States that we have found. Yeah, which is awesome. And as far as that's an interesting fact.
You can go back about a year or two episodes or so ago, or not episodes, but years of episodes. Mm-hmm. We have a live recording.
It was a farming episode.
It was a farming episode, so it's the top 8 debate farming or agriculture, one of the two. Mm-hmm. You can check that out. That was filmed live in YumaCon. So
yeah, it was really good fun, and they've always invited us back as guests, so we love them there. Mm-hmm. They treat us well, and we love how passionate the community is about it. So. Yeah. Yeah, if you're in like the Southern California area, it's worth going to. If you're in the Tucson, Phoenix area, it's worth going to. Again, it's a small little homely convention, but it's really great people. So go support them.
And the thing is, too, it's not that far from us. It's what, a 10-hour drive, 11?
Something like that. Yeah. Somewhere between 8 to 10 hours.
Yeah, you get on basically the shortest interstate to get there. So you take I-10 from where we're at all the way to roughly just between Tucson and Phoenix, and get on the I-8, which ends at that. It starts and ends at that point where we get onto it, and then goes all the way to San Diego. So that's what I find funny is like that is a short stretch of an interstate.
It is. Well, comparatively, it's still pretty. It's still a couple hundred miles, but
when we also basically live on I-10 that goes from L.A. to Florida. So yeah. But anyways, I just got back from a trip.
Tell us about it.
I have a Colorado Rockies hat here because we went to Denver. My wife had a job site up there, and I told her, if you ever get a job site within driving distance where we can put mileages, we'll take your car up there and take care of that. And so went up there, spent some time slightly in Colorado Springs, did some shopping there, and then went on our way to Denver. I was able to go to three great game stores, a few game stores, which was nice. Also went to a place to eat at one of the game stores has like an eatery in it that you recommended, which had some really good food. And I'll talk about more of those probably in a couple weeks when we do the outside of gaming. But I'll give a shout out to Gamer Haven in Colorado Springs. Fantastic store. Black and Red, if you want to find some hard to find games, or if you have no problem buying used games for a relatively good price, or just buying new games in general, Black and Red in Arvada, Colorado, fantastic places. One of my favorite game stores I've been to, and they have more than just board games. They have, I think there are some video games, but they have like a lot of music. They have a lot of books. I think I saw some DVDs and movies in there. So whatever, it's basically a catch-all for geekdom, really. There's a bunch of stuff in there. It's a fantastic place. Be careful if you have an issue with clutter. It is a bit cluttered just because of how much stuff that they have in there, and it's a massive place too. They go deep in the building. There's shelves upon shelves of just really cool stuff. But Black and Red in Arvada, Colorado. Also went to Game Train USA, which is a fun place. That was in...
It's in the south end of Denver.
It's in the south end of Denver. I can't remember the actual community. We were staying in Glendale, but I can't remember what the area is located called. It's one of those things. It's kind of like Phoenix, where it's a bunch of little municipalities attached to one major city. And so it's in the southeastern part of Denver. Really good food. I had the bison beef meatloaf. Fantastic meatloaf. The wife had a cobbler because she had a dinner later that day, so she had a berry cobbler she really enjoyed. And we played Timeline there, and then I bought some games there. Fantastic place to visit. But the whole reason I went up there was I partaked in baseball games, plural. I went up there because the Cubs were playing the Rockies. I'm a Cubs fan. They were playing the Rockies on that Sunday. Beautiful stadium. It's by far one of my favorite stadiums in all of Major League Baseball. My wife loved that stadium because they have a beautiful... It's called the Batter's Eye. So if you're not familiar with baseball, they have a whole section in most stadiums that has like a greenery or a blackout area. And it's just for the batters able to pick up the ball as it's being thrown to them. And so this one is actually a batter's eye of greenery. There is... like pine trees back there. There's fountains. It is vines back there in that area. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. My wife was just staring at it and enjoying that the whole time. If you go into the upper decks, like the third deck and stuff like that, behind home plate, you have a beautiful view of the Rocky Mountains.
Oh, yeah.
In the city skyline. It was a really nice stadium. Really good time. Was able to watch it. And I was telling the wife, I'm very bad luck for Rockies. I do like the team. As you can see, I bought the hat. My new rule for my Major League Baseball hats is that I can only ever own Cubs hats, unless I go to the specific stadium of that team, and then I can buy hats for them as well.
Sure.
But going there, I've been there 3 times. All 3 times the Rockies have lost. Twice I was happy about it because I went to go see the Cubs. That's my team. I support the Cubs for the longest time. And it's funny, I was telling to somebody there on Wednesday when I went to the second game against the Diamondbacks, and we were talking, and he's like, so you're a Cubs fan, so you're here for Sunday and rooting for the Cubs, I'm assuming. I'm like, yeah. He's like, why? And I'm like, why not Rockies? Because you're from southern New Mexico. They're pretty close. I'm like, first off, I'm closer to the Diamondbacks than I am to the Denver area. But two, I've been a Cubs fan longer than this has been a franchise. So there's your answer. I was like, I've been a Cubs fan since 1989. Rockies didn't come into the league till 1993.
Yeah.
So, but we had a good time. But by the way, the weather was great. It was mid-80s the whole time. In that stadium, it was freaking brutally hot. There was no shade whatsoever, like where we were sitting, to the point where Wednesday, I had to move up from my seat to get into the shade and get under the second deck. So I was in the 17th row. I had to go all the way back to the 32nd row just to get away from the sun because it was so hot. But no, fantastic time. But with that being said, what have you been playing?
Ooh, let's get into today's episode. What have I been playing? So, I recently acquired a number of different random solo games that I've been curious about, like different puzzle games, and one of which I wanted to talk about right now. It's a game called Strato, and I got this up in in Tucson recently, and it's by Helvetic, or Helvetic, however you want to say that.
Yeah, that's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah, exactly. And so normally their games come in like almost like an Oink-esque box, right?
Yeah.
Like they had Bandito. But I got this game called Strato. It was a solo puzzle game about working with weather and trying to put things, puzzly weather game is I think how they coin it.
Okay.
So Strato, the way it works is you have a line of cards and you have basically a tornado in the middle, and it basically just tells you which cards go where.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the way it works is that on your turn, you have 3 cards in your hand. You play 1 card to the end of either the left or right row, and that will give you an ability. Now, the catch is, unlike other solo games, puzzle games like that, you must do the ability. You don't have the option. And you can't do the ability that would cause it to be, like if I have 2 blue cards next to each other and one of them pushes away, I can't just push the one next to it and keeping it effectively the same thing. It must change the state of the board. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to get either certain colors grouped together or have certain patterns or in their respective rows. And there will be a cap to how many cards you can play on either side of the row, and sometimes there might be multiple rows of cards. So all you have to do is try and organize them using these abilities.
Yeah.
Then at the end of your turn you draw a card. Quite simple. This is a weird puzzle. It's brain burnery. I was really impressed by it because the very first level just starts off with wind cards and rain cards. And the wind, what it'll do is pick any card in that row and push it as far as you want in between 2 other cards.
Okay.
Which one could be the storm card. I think those are the only ones you're not allowed to move. And then the rain card, when you place it down in either left or right side, it takes the card farthest away from it, and you slot that in next to either of the tornado cards that are in that same row. After you unlock those first 2 levels, then you go into a third one, which has sunlight, which just lets you discard a card from there. Or there's, I think, wind, or it's like waves. I think it might be cloudy. I forget what it is specifically, but when you play it down, it lets you swap 2 cards that are in the same column. So swap them around. If there's no card in one of the columns, you just simply move it up or down. Mm-hmm. And that's it.
Sounds interesting.
It's a weird puzzle, and I like the art a lot on it. There's some parts that I'm like, it's a little, it's okay. Like there's this little track to help you keep track of how many cards max you can have.
Yeah.
So if it can have a maximum of 7 cards on either side, they're like little jigsaw puzzle pieces, little cardboard pieces that you put out.
Okay.
And so there's 2 of each number. There's 2 1s, 2 2s, 2 3s because they're going outward, but they're not compatible with each other because it's like a jigsaw puzzle thing. So a good portion of the game is setting up those pieces, going, okay, the 7 could go here. Well, okay, hold on. That's the other 7. Okay, I don't have that far yet. All right, so here's a 5. Here's this 4. And that's like part of the game, and it kind of like messes with your head a little bit unless you have it already set up. And there's a lot of like specific pieces or cards that can and can't go in certain spots and whatever. But overall, it's a really intriguing little game. I'm already on like level 4, I think, out of 10. So that's pretty good.
All right, cool. Yeah. All right, so we kind of jumped into this episode without explaining what the topic is today. So we're a little backwards. Mind you, we're out of practice. We took a week off, so
yeah.
We're a little confused about what's going on. But today's episode is a Chits Giggles topic of games we love but suck at. So with that being said, we're going to get back into our sub-segment here.
By the way, Strato, I've had to play about 10 times so far to get this far. So maybe this could fit in.
All right. So the first game I want to talk about is a game that I kind of sucked at, so it kind of works in this one. I've only played one game of it, that's why it's not on my list. But man, sure. I do like this game a lot. And this is one of the newest game, and I think it was on my anticipated games list too. And that was Rock Hard 1977 from DeVere Games.
Yep.
It is a very thematic worker placement game. I like that aspect of it. And I like the fact that it kind of follows like the viticulture suit, where instead of like seasons, it's like time of day. So you have your morning, you have your evening, I guess you can say, and then the after party section. So there's like three different, and you're always going to do something in that section, but you got to be careful because there's candy in there, and so it's kind of a spot on kind of thing, but they're not being like facetious about it because they can't be, because they want to be family friendly. But it's about being a rock star in the 1970s, the late 77, or in 77, in fact, and trying to make it big and becoming a very great musician at that time. What I like about it is this was designed by the original bassist of the Runaways, Jackie Fox, which is kind of neat. For people who don't know, you're probably familiar with the song Cherry Bomb. That song was like in the Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff like that. They got really big later again. She was the original bassist of that group.
And she's a 4-time Jeopardy champion.
Yeah, that too. So so she's very smart. She is very creative. I mean, she made music, and now she's very creative when it comes to the board gaming world. I hope this is not a one and done type thing. I hope she makes more board games and see where it goes with this. But I really do like this one. The component quality is through the roof. I love the mini
dials.
Well, the dials are neat too. I wasn't even getting to that point yet. I'm talking about like just the acrylic minis.
Oh
The standees are fantastic.
Acrylic standees, yeah.
Those things. I am really a sucker for those lately. Just anytime I have an offer to get the acrylic standees, I've been intrigued.
100%.
Because they're just so nice.
Yep.
But the dials, as you were mentioning, on the player boards is fantastic. The cardboard's really good, thick. The cards are fine. My personal favorite is the paper money. It made me fall in love with paper money for this game because it has the feel of an American dollar in a sense. You could tell something's off with that feel, but it gives you that feel. So that is fantastic. I really do enjoy what they did there. I love the fact that the designer who created this game actually lived this lifestyle.
Yes.
So it's very in-depth. You kind of know what's going on. You have to balance your professional job on you start making money. You have to record a demo tape. You have to make a record deal. I love the fact that you have this all going on. And then you could choose, hey, I got to go early. Or there's a push your luck aspect when it deals with the candy because you can get an extra action, but it's also really bad for you because it's candy and you get a sugar high. And if you do too much more, you have to go recover in the hospital. So your morning is kind of shot that day. So, and if you keep missing work, you're going to get fired from your job. But it's all about making money you could start doing this stuff and going to the after parties and making sure you get your stuff elevated to where it needs to be for you can go do these rock concerts, these arenas and these bars or these music festivals and stuff like that. I thoroughly enjoyed this game. It was a very close play for 3 people, and then there was me. So our winner ended up winning with a final total of 69 points, so nice. I had a total of 52 points, and everybody else was either in the low 60s or the high 50s, my wife and our other friend in there. So it's just like, yeah, one of these things is not like the others. What's going on here? But it was a decent point spread. So
Too much candy.
Yeah. Well, actually, I didn't even play the candy game at all. I played
not enough candy.
Yeah, I used it once, in all honesty.
Oh.
But I do like that, and I like the fact that the candy is a kind of a push your luck aspect, because when you use the candy to get an extra action, you flip over a card, And it could be hard candy, which gives you 2 bonus actions. It could just be regular candy that gives you 1 bonus action. But there could be sugar-free in there and you get nothing. But you still have to increase your cravings. So it's actually quite fun. It was a blast of a game. I do enjoy this one a lot.
Cool. Next one I wanted to talk about was a game that me and Dammit Dom both were very excited to do. It got us both off of our shelf of shames. We played it in our most recent game night here at your house without you.
Yep.
Which is one of the... If you follow us on Instagram, you knew about this already.
Yeah.
So since you were out of town, as you brought up earlier, me and Dammit Dom actually came over here because I was house sitting for you and we were playing with your dogs and hanging out. But we had a game day here specifically without you, which is always weird when we do it, but it's pretty funny.
Yeah, well, the reason why I do it is like, hey, guys, I'll still host if you guys still want to come over here a game. And it's just good for the dogs. This way they're not alone all the time.
Oh, yeah, they loved it.
Yeah,
oh, man.
I bet they did. Especially the little cowboy corgi that we have. I don't want to say the name on here, but if you're on our after shows, you know the names of my dogs. But yeah, she really loves Dammit Dom, so
yeah, she does.
So I bet she was really happy after not seeing anybody other than you for a while, and then Dammit Dom shows up.
Oh yeah. Now, granted, me and her had a lot of fun together. Like she was really enjoying me. Although, like I think like the third or second day, something like that, I showed up and your other dog, the kind of skittish one, he was just like huffing at me like, I was like, yo, dude, I've been coming here for like 3 days straight. Like, I am the only person you see. How are you? What?
And like, I've been giving you treats. What the heck?
Yeah, what the heck? Ungrateful. Anyway, so we played a bunch of 2-player games. We actually played 4 games all together. Mm-hmm. We'll be talking about another one here in a minute. But this was one that was on both of our shelves of shame. There's a lookout game called Foothills. It's a 2-player game based on Snowdonia.
Is that the one that you had the picture on in the background?
Probably.
It looked kind of like a Scottish looking game.
Almost. Yeah, probably. Yeah. So we had a bunch of rows of different colored train track cards.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was interesting how it worked. So in this game, you had a whole series. You had 6 out of
Foothills.
Yeah, Foothills. You had 6 of the 8 train tracks, and they all have different destinations that you're building amongst. And these train tracks have a few different things going on with them. First, they have rubble, which is kind of like a resource, except you need to make sure you clear it out in order to build tracks. You can build tracks and stations, and when you build stations, it basically makes the card a new worker placement spot. So you can send out your surveyor and do worker placement spots, and you have a series of 5 different actions that you can do, A through E. One of the actions is quite simply take rubble. One of them is build a station. One of them is lay track or convert, I want to say rubble into stone or something like that. Mm-hmm. And there's a few others like move your surveyor and whatever. However, on the back of all these cards, once you take the action, you flip it to the other side. And on the less good side has a completely different action on it. Like it might be, and it's generally like a smaller version of the same action. Like I could build a station, but it costs 2 more rubble, right? Okay, on top of what it is. And so you're probably wondering, like, why would you ever use the bad side of these cards? Well, you do it so you can get back to the good side. That's how you do it. But one of them is really cool. When you move the surveyor, you get to move over to the pub on certain parts of it. And by moving to the pub, you can retire one of your actions, and that becomes endgame scoring at the end of the game. So I might get like a point for every 2 tracks I've laid throughout the game, or something to that effect.
Yeah.
But then I get to take one of the other action cards that was there, which has a different secondary side, and I get to put it however I want on that action. So you're using like this weird action flipping mechanism, upgrading your actions, building this track, all to get points in different ways. It's a cool little system. It does something that I have not seen in pretty much any other game. Okay. While I'm familiar with like action upgrading and kind of, I feel like this flipping thing is kind of something like Arc Nova. Kind of. It's a very different thing, but it's like, I think if you like that clever card sliding, like boosting up your actions, you would like this as well.
Okay, yeah, it sounds interesting. Not familiar with it. I actually never even heard of this one, but mind you, I don't play a lot of 2-player games. I just found out there might be another 2-player games I might just have in my collection just to have. Because one, I like Seven Wonders Duel. And I love Lord of the Rings. And even if I don't play it all that often, I want Lord of the Rings Duel.
So there's an old Lord of the Rings Duel. that I do own. That's a 2-player only from way back in the day. Doesn't look as good as this new one.
This new one, because it's Seven Wonders Duel.
But this one has the bridge, and you have Balrog and Gandalf like moving along it, and you're competing.
That is cool.
Which is a pretty epic.
But Bruno Cathala.
But Bruno Cathala, though.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, so the next game I'm going to talk about, speaking of Seven Wonders Duel, I actually got this for my birthday. Wanted to show it to my other game group who got it for me. We recently just played it about 2 weeks ago or so before my trip. And that is Seven Wonders, the regular game, the Kinderspiel winner of 2013, 2014, something like that.
Something like that.
Still not my favorite of the pick and pass drafting games. I did enjoy it a lot more than I used to do. And I think it's just more of how my gaming taste has evolved over time. Because the first time I played this game, I wasn't enamored with it. Then you and me kind of played it a couple times at a 2-player, and both of you and me are like, we hate the 2-player aspect of it.
Yep.
We played
it has a dummy player, and that's not cool.
Yeah, so this version, that's gone. There's no 2-player version. Okay. You play 3 to 7. It's just... that's the range, no 2-player. And then we played it with Gamehead Geek at one point, and it was by far the quietest game we have ever played of Seven Wonders Duel. Mind you, it was quick. It is a fast game. Yeah. It's basically a pick and pass drafting game.
That's me. Don't worry.
A pick and pass drafting game. God, every time we record. Every time.
I don't get texts all day long.
I know. It's funny. Now. But anyways, it's a pick and pass, which is fine. I don't mind that drafting aspect of it.
I mind it.
When we played it that one time with Gamehead Geek, we played it in 20 minutes, and it was completely and utterly silent. It's like, here you go. Here you go. Kind of thing. But we didn't say, here you go. It was just, passing it on.
Yep.
And it was for 20 minutes. It's a fine game. I like what it does. I love the artwork in this new model. Yeah. It's slightly better. I do want to pick up the Leaders expansion. I heard it helps a lot of gives you something to really strive for more than just working on your wonders and stuff like that. So I do want to try that as well. And it's probably the only expansion I really want to get for it. Maybe if I catch the other ones on a deal. But Leaders is the only one I'm looking for at the moment. I still prefer other drafting games, but honestly, this has kind of jumped up a little bit for me. For the longest time, I rated it like a 5 or a 6. I say it's, knowing what I know now, how we rate things and stuff like that, and with a new mind, I would give it easily a 7. It's a simple game. It's not one of my favorites, but it's respectable for what it does, and I understand why people do enjoy it like they do. So that is Seven Wonders.
All right. The next game I want to talk about is a game that I've had in my collection for about a year now, and I've always enjoyed playing it. But this week we finally started selling it at our local shop, so I was like, I'm going to bring it in, teach it to some people. And this is an interesting game that uses different senses, specifically hearing. You have a nice wooden box with a bunch of little trinkets in it, and you have to shake the box to figure out what's missing from it. This is called Fairy Prank. And I quite like this game, and it went over really well at the shop, as I thought it would. And I'm glad it did, because you have 10 different items. So the theme of it is that there is a fairy prankster who's stealing little trinkets from people. And they're normally like little small things, but that's their treasures for their, for the fairies. Until one person becomes the fairy, they take some of the items, and the other players have to try and figure out what's still remaining of those. So you have stuff like a little plastic diamond, a paper clip, a little rubber eraser, a felt square, which is ridiculous. You can't even hear it half the time. A marble, wooden dowel, stuff like this, like all these different little items. And they all have different sizes, shapes, densities, weights, and stuff. And so you can kind of tell some of them.
By the way, I'm not shaking my head about the board game that he's talking about. The board game sounds interesting.
What are you shaking your head about?
The freaking buzzing that's coming over there.
Oh. Oh, well. I know. Maybe I should shut my phone off. We'll see. But if there's anyway, I digress. So, what the game works though? Have you played this one, Fairy Prank?
No, I've seen it, but you've explained it to me. But it just doesn't sound like my kind of game.
Right, it's not. I mean, I think you would be fine with it. I think you'd be like, okay, whatever. But the fact that it's a magnetic, closable wooden box that it comes with, all these different trinkets. there is one part that I absolutely love about it, is that there's little punch board tokens that help you keep track of the items. So if one person guesses, say, the marble, you flip over the marble and say that's been guessed already, and whether it's correct or not. So the way it actually works is why you want to be the fairy prankster or not, is that if I steal 3 items out of the container, I hold it away from me. What I'm trying to do is pick items that the other people will guess. Because if they guess it correct and they've discovered a correct item that's still in the box, they score it for a point. Whereas if they guess something that I have, I score it instead. So if I take out the marble and somebody guesses a marble is still in there, then I get the marble point. And if you get 6 different unique items scored, or 3 of the same item, then you win. So it works really well. But my favorite part about like all of this is that on the punch board tokens, they give you 2 extras, so you can put 2 any other items you want. And I thought it'd be perfect to add like a penny and a meeple. I think those would be spot on, like really solid for it. Anyway, I might play with that a little bit, see what I decide, because that's just so cool and creative, and it's a really not an expensive game. Fun party game, works really well. A lot of people are apprehensive at first, like, that just sounds silly. But then we literally, like, we had people coming into the shop. I was like, hey, help me figure out what's still in the box. And I just shake the box at them. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, help me figure out that these are the items that it could be. What do you think is still in it? And, like, I didn't even preface that they're playing the game. And then immediately they were like, well, I mean, obviously the gem's in there, right? Or no, is that the keychain that I'm hearing? I don't know. And then they're just in the game immediately. And it works really well. So, Fairy Prank by Ultra Pro, I think.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Or Upper Deck.
Upper Deck.
Well, I get those 2 mixed up.
They used to work together for the longest time.
Yes,
so.
I always get those 2 mixed up, and I apologize. I will find out here in a bit. But yeah, Fairy Prank, awesome game.
All right, so my third game I'm going to talk about was played around the same time as Seven Wonders. Well, actually the same day. Is a game that my wife picked up on me on one of her trips for work. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a fantastic game. If you like Machikoro, or you like Space Base, this is the one where you build a bunch of stuff, or you have a tableau of cards, and they'll trigger on everybody's roll. And so this is called Bad Company. Oh yeah. And it's a fun little, we're a bunch of robbers stealing as much money as they can without getting captured by the police, and you lose points if the police catch you in your getaway car and stuff like that. And you're trying to grab loot, use special abilities, and so forth. And you're playing on 3 different boards. One's basically the score track, but you're also trying to get extra stuff to evolve your characters. What I find funny about this game is that like in Space Base, when you upgrade a card, one slides to the back and a new one goes into that spot. This one is they're always going to trigger no matter what someone's going to do. So you're going to roll 5 dice. Okay. You're going to make pairs with the regular dice, and the black die is just strictly for the police officer. Okay. And so when you make your pairs, as the person who rolled the dice, I get to use both those pairs. As other people around the table, one of those pairs, and you don't get to make your own pair. You have to use the pairs that was given to you by the roller. I forget what it's called in there. But so if I roll 2 6s and a 4 and a 3, and I make, like, say, a 12 and a 7, then those are what's going to trigger for me, but everybody else has to either do a 12 or a 7, maybe. There is some cards in there or abilities that will allow you to make your own pairs out of the dice that have been rolled. And so there's those kind of shenanigans. You're basically just trying to score points as you're going. Different things are going to happen. You're going to either move your specific getaway car. You're going to try to upgrade your characters. You're going to try to get check marks. This way you can finish certain stuff off, like certain heists and stuff like that. But you can only trigger them based on what ends up being rolled. And then as you're leveling up your person, so say like I'm leveling up my character a 7, everything that's under it is still going to activate. So my 7 can activate, if I roll a 7 or someone rolls a 7, I can activate 4 different guys depending on how many times I evolved that character. And so I liked about it. And what's neat about it, it's this massive big box, very little components in there. So it's kind of like the Machikoro aspect of it, where it gives you like this big old box for nice shelf space, but it doesn't really have all that much stuff in there. Okay. And the big thing about it too is, as much random as in it, there's a lot of good choices in there. And it was quick. Surprisingly very quick. I think we played a brand new game, 4 new people. I read the rules and taught the game. We played it in less than an hour. I think it was like 55 minutes by the time it was all said and done. Like, if people know this game, they'd probably be done in 20, 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
It is a fantastic game, though. It's funny because we thought, oh, this is going to end quickly and stuff like that. But as you're just rolling your dice and stuff going, it's like, seems like it's going really slow or someone's running away with it. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, this happens. And then I trigger this, boom, boom, boom. And I trigger this, boom, boom, boom. And then I got this ability because every time I get this, I can do this kind of thing. And so it cascades and the game just starts picking up and going faster and faster. And so that's why it's like, oh, this seems it's going to be like a longer space base or quite a bit longer Machikoro because Machikoro can be quick too.
Can be, yeah.
No, once you get going and once everything starts firing and everybody figures out what's going on, oh, you rolled a 7, sweet. Now I can trigger this, boom, 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 boom. Do this, okay, now I'm moving this. All right, cool. Now, all right, who's next? That kind of thing. And it just moves really quickly. So it was a good one. I do enjoy this one a lot. Bad Company.
And the last one I wanted to talk about today is another game that me and Damn It Dom played and both got off of both of our shelves of shames, just like Foothills. This is Tokaido Duo, the 2-player version of Tokaido, the Antoine Boza game. And this is also designed by Antoine Boza. I don't know if he had somebody else he worked with. But this is a roll and move.
Cathala, more than likely.
That's what I thought, but I don't believe so.
I don't think so.
Wrong. This, very simply, is a roll and move.
I know, I was going to say.
It's a roll and move.
Antoine
Let
Bauza.
me emphasize that again. It's a roll and move.
Anton Bauza needs Bruno Cathala to help fix his 2-player versions of games.
It must be. Oh my goodness. No, so the way this works is quite interesting. You have 3 different types of pieces. You have like a merchant, a trader, and like a painter or something like that. Mm-hmm. I forget what the actual terms are. But you have this board that basically is a long track of different spaces. And then there's a few more spaces in between that track.
Okay.
And those have pathways that go to and from the outer ring to the inner ring, right? And so what this does is you have a merchant who's going around to the different spaces, or a tourist or something, and they will get certain points by collecting different sets or activating abilities or whatever. So I think they move up to 4 spaces or whatever. They move along the track. And this was very similar to the original Tokaido, is instead of moving along the track, you actually, or instead of jumping across to the next person in a straight line, you're moving around in a circle. But you move it clockwise in that number of spaces. There's one way you can land on like a bathhouse where you get extra abilities. There's ways to land on certain shops where you just get the coins that are involved. And there's a few other options as well. But then you have the people who are buying and selling tokens. So in the middle spaces, if they move onto those, they can move in any direction they want. They just can't double back. And they can't occupy the same space as somebody else. So when they get to a spot, you're either drawing tokens or you're selling a certain type of token for the money that is shown. Either like 2 to 3, 3 to 4, or just 3 points or whatever. Something to that effect.
Okay.
And there's a whole range of anywhere from 2 to like 5 coins or whatever. So you're trying to go to these middle spots to get the item, and then move them to the outside spots to sell them in groups, because you can sell as many as you want. As you get 10 coins, that converts into a little coin placard thing, and that has points that move up, which is pretty cool. So the more points you get from that is pretty neat. Then the guy who's moving in a circle, he multiplies the number of gardens times the number of temples that you visited at the end of the game. Okay. So that's real simple. But the painters are really neat. The painters, they move in the regions in between all of those tracks. So when they move into a region, each of the regions have different types of paintings that you're going to be doing. And you start off with all of the painting types face down, mixed up on your board. When you get to a region with other pawns, whether they're yours or your opponent's, the number of pawns that are adjacent to that region is how many tokens you reveal.
Okay.
And that gives you the inspiration of what paintings to do. Or you can move them onto the painting spot and then discard them from your board. And all of these are just escalating victory points in different ways. So how this works is you take 3 dice, 1 corresponding to each of the characters, roll them, and the first player chooses 1 die out of the 3, moves their piece, does the action. Then the second player takes one of the remaining 2 dice, takes that, and then the first player again gets the 3rd action. Okay. But then the next player gets to roll all 3 again, and then vice versa, back and forth. Until one of the end games is triggered, most points wins. beautiful little components, lovely art. I mean, I don't own Tokaido anymore. I got this I was like, well, I'm supporting the store that I was at. I was over in Ventura, California.
Okay.
Or near Ventura. I wasn't in Ventura when I found that. It was like the board game club that I bought it from.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'll buy it. I like the theme of the original one. Let's give it a try. I haven't heard much about it. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was really impressed by it. I would gladly play it again. I think that's a two-player that even you and your wife might even enjoy. It's not quite as thematic as I think your wife would enjoy, but I think you would really quite enjoy it.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't mind two-player games. It's just that they don't get played here, and usually we don't have two-player time to play games.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I think after you try it, you'll be like, okay, I see where you're going with this. You know? But Tokaido Duo, fun game.
All right, so the last game I'm going to talk about is a game that I actually played up there with my wife in Denver, Colorado. I wanted to show her this for a while because there's a game that we play all the time that we enjoy called Hitster. And I'm like, this is the same concept, or this Hitster got it from this game, this concept of it. And she's like, okay. And I'm like, we have to understand what's going on here, or time frame. We can't get into a heavy game because you only have an hour to hang out before you have to leave, and I got to take a lift back to the hotel when I'm ready to go. And so we decided to go ahead and play these games because, one, I've been wanting to show her these and show her the competitive version of what Hitster would be if it wasn't for the fact that it was music and she would get her butt handed to her if she ever played against me or you for that matter. But this one is called Timeline. Shockingly enough, this game is older than I was remembering. I thought it was 2013, 2014, old, and it's 2010.
Yeah.
And so did enjoy it. I found it really neat. We played 3 different versions. We played about 4 or 5 times within that hour. I'm eating my food. She's eating her cobbler. And we're just having a good time playing this. And she really dug the competitive version of Timeline. Though she's not big on history. And I am a history major. So she thought she was just going to get badly beaten. I'm like, I know history. But this has some of the most obscure stuff in here. That I'm like... and then there was parts where it's a range is I think it goes here, but I would not be shocked if it was over here, and I was correct. It should have been over there because it was just slightly before what it needed to be. Yeah. But yeah, no, we played it over dinner at Game Train USA. Again, a nice shout out to them. They're a fantastic place. So if you get a chance out there in Denver, go check it out. We played 3 different versions. We played the base history timeline. We played Inventions. And we also played Events. And so Inventions was the hardest one for me because it's
it's tricky.
Because it comes up with some of the most obscure stuff too. Yeah. It's the invention of this. Oh, wait, this is the microscope? I know it's around this time frame, but is it between 1512 and 1775 or is it before 1512? And that was my thing is I think the telescope was here, so that I think the glasses are here, or the sextant was around here too. So yeah, we did enjoy it, and so much so I ended up picking up Timeline Twist, the co-op version of it, because I'm like, okay, I've heard things about the co-op. I want to check it out because you can still play it competitive. Right. So I ended up picking up Timeline Twist, the pop culture version of it. Just recently played it too, so it's kind of bonus action. The co-op is atrocious. Do not play the co-op. Just play the competitive version of this game. The competitive is fantastic, and I tried to fix the co-op because usually in the co-op, you could just take a card, you could flip it over, and then put it in the timeline, and you're just trying to score points based on the basic timeline or the sub-timeline. But if you put a card over in the sub-timeline that bridges the 2 cards, so 1500 to, 1775, if you put that bridge over there, nothing can go between that section, and then you're going to have to keep it in front of you, and becomes negative points for you at the end of the game as a group. It's not good. The way I try to complete it is because it tells you that you can turn it over, and then you decide where it's going to go, so you always know what year you're looking at. And I was like, no, let's make it a little bit more fun. Put it over there, and then see if you're correct or not. Yep. If you're not correct in the main timeline, then you discard it. Or if you are correct, because the discard's also negative points. If you put it in the sub-timeline, you're incorrect, then it has to be stuck with you. It wasn't good. the competitive side of it is still fantastic. Yeah. It is a fun game. That Hitster has a better co-op mode than the Timeline Twister Twist does. So if you do find like the Timeline Twist and stuff like that, they're still great games. You can still play it competitively. I highly recommend that. I do want to pick up another copy of, like, say, the regular Timeline Twist, because that's really all you can find. You can still find, like, Timeline out in the wild here and there, but it's not what they're printing right now. So you could still get one of the Twist lines, and it'll be fantastic. But, yeah, so the game we played was Timeline. Base, Invention, and Events.
All right, so let's get into today's episode. Today we are talking about our top 8 games each of games that we love, but we suck at. And what we mean by that is games that, you know, despite us being ones that we enjoy playing from time and time again, if not often, we just tend to come up last or next to last or just do a terrible job at it.
I have statistics.
So I went by feel, because I'll be honest, this was one of the hardest lists for me, by far. This
is by far one of the easiest lists for me.
What was it the other... there was a list that we came up with a few weeks ago, where it was really difficult for you, and I was like, I got like my top 8. Like I had to whittle it down from like 30 or something.
Oh, I could actually tell you, because I'm trying to remember that topic, and I'm about to lose my list. Okay, we're good.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was this for me. It was so difficult for me, you know. And the thing is, with this list, I was looking through my game collection, and I was just thinking, it's like, well, so many of the games that I really do enjoy and really love, I put up a very competitive fight for, and I tend to do pretty decent at them. And even in the games that, like, there's a number of games where I'm pretty bad at, but they're also not one of my favorite games, too. And everyone always says, like, you know, if you win... then you have an advantage, or you have, you know, it's like, of course you like the game, you just won, right?
Yeah.
We played a game at, I brought a game to a restaurant yesterday. It was one of the ones I got in my recent Barnes & Noble, binge, just because they were selling a whole bunch of things on it. It was a game I hadn't heard of called Little Battle, and it was kind of like an almost like simultaneous bidding game kind of thing, but it had pick and pass drafting right at the beginning, so I was like, okay. Oh. And we played it, and me and my 2 kids, we finished the game. It was like 15 minutes. It was pretty quick.
Okay.
And my daughter won, beat me by 1 point, and all of us collectively went, you know, like that was all right. And even my daughter was like, yeah, I won, but I don't know. I might not play that again. I'm like, that's fair. So we're going to get rid of it.
Yeah, there was a game that you brought over one time where we were all just kind of like, I mean, that was fine. I think I ended up winning the game, and I was like, I won the game, and I was like...
I think I was the same way, too, right? Like, I think I know what you're talking about, where I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to keep this anymore.
Yeah.
Just because, like, that was the most mad game we've played in a while, right? It's functionally, it worked fine.
And it's the same thing as, like, right above our head over there, Alien, the co-op game right there.
Yep.
It's fine.
Yeah.
But it's okay. Meh. It's a whole lot of meh.
Right, exactly. So even if you win, that might help your opinion a little bit. But these ones are the ones that I definitely found that I'm absolutely trash at for different reasons. Yet I have so much fun doing it. And I'm sure there's plenty more that I'm neglecting to realize how bad I am at it. But... man, I do have fun with these.
Yeah, so the way I did my list is I keep statistics on my phone. I've been doing it since 2019, so there is quite a few statistics. Yeah. So I went into the all-time list. I also went into the most played games, because if it's a game that I play a lot, that must mean I like it, or it might be, it could be a simple game that just gets played a lot. But I went through all my statistics and looked at that, and then I found the lowest win percentage out of those, and I'm like sitting there like, oh yeah, I do love that game. Wow, do I suck at that game. Oh yeah, I do really enjoy that game. Wow, I don't win very often when it comes to that game either. So I was looking through those statistics. Now there's a few in here that I've only played a handful of times, maybe 4, 5, 6 times.
Sure.
But they're on this list because, again, like how you said, with the fill, and I'm like, yeah, it deserves its spot on this list because I do really thoroughly enjoy it. And a big part of it is some of these games, they're longer games, so they don't get played as often. So I just had to weigh that balance, like my favoritism to that game plus my win percentages based on that game. Because,
so I was going to ask you, how did you actually rank it?
So the way I ranked it, and it's just it's kind of... I weighted my love for the game to the win percentage. So there's going to be some that I have like a 25 win percentage, which is low, but it's not the lowest because there's a 0% win percentage on this one.
Yeah.
But the one that has like 25% is probably one of my most played games of all time and is one of my favorite games of all time.
Okay.
And so I just kind of went with that kind of weighting system. Is like, I really love this game. I do play this one a lot. And my win percentage is really low.
Yeah.
And so there's a game I've played like 4 times and I have not won once on this game. But it's further up on my list because I just haven't played it that much.
That makes sense.
And so that's how I went with my listing.
So my listing, the way I actually approach this is I went to my Board Game Geek collection and I put them in order by their ranking. Not by their ranking, I'm sorry, by my rating for the game. And then I just went down from 10s, and if it was less than an 8, I didn't include it in
You got rid of it? It's like, get out of here.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't love anything less than an 8. Like, because if I put it at a 7 or something, that means I was like, yeah, that was fine.
Yeah.
You know, it was decent. Anything less than that wouldn't have made sense. But, so I went from 10s down to 8, and I put them in order by, my number 1 is the highest rated out of all my games. But all of these, I don't have a measurable ranking of how bad I am at them. Some is just like, just objectively subjectively how I feel about how I do on them.
Yeah.
And or previous experiences in it. It's like, yeah, I've been trash at this game before.
I have the statistics, so I used them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm one of the few people out of our group that religiously keeps track of my scores and keeps track of my plays of something.
Yeah.
I think the only thing I'm missing is like a month worth of games since I started tracking. And that's because my phone died and I lost that month because it didn't get backed up.
Sure.
Other than that, I have every game since I started tracking January 2019 played in my phone on BG Stats. So shout out to them. They're a fantastic.
Yeah, go buy that app.
That is a fantastic app. If you want to keep track of your statistics, and it integrates to your Board Game Geek. So every log to play of that will log to your Board Game Geek account if you integrate both of them together.
Yeah, and you can choose whether you want to or not.
Yeah.
I gotta look here in a minute. Like, so, let's see here. How did you sort it? Let's see here.
All right,
all plays.
Go to your all plays, or go to your insights.
Insights. Okay. This is gonna be a crash course because I want to know.
And you go to period. You go to all time.
Okay.
And then you go to...
Oh, it's loading.
Yeah.
It's loading.
It's going to take a while. Then you go on your specific name because it's going to show the players. You go on your specific name, and then it'll show you your games and played and stuff like that. And I'll show you how to do that in a minute.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's how I did it. So you're on there now, right?
Yep.
And so... Actually, it might be easier instead of Insight. But these are... So like... this is your most played game.
Yep.
And you have 102 plays of that.
Yep.
I don't know if it keeps... if you click on that...
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so you can click on that, but the best way to do it is what I'll do is I'll go in here, go to players, and then I don't know where your name is, so find your personal name.
I think it's put under me.
You use it as me?
Am I? Oh, apparently not.
Because I keep it as myself with...
Yeah.
So you go into your games there, and then your plays. So when you Magic the Gathering, and then it tells you your win percentage of your most played games.
Gotcha. Oh, wow. Well, I mean, yeah, that is technically only one win out of 25 plays.
But yeah, so that's how I use it. So that's why I love BG Stats so well, is that I'm able to pull up what I need to statistic-wise on here.
Okay, all right. Yeah,
that's how I built it, through that.
That's a good way to do it. BG Stats, bravo. All right, well, let's get into this. As always, I'm going to flip the coin of doom, and we will begin from here, starting at our number 8. That'll be you.
Starting with me. All right, so my number 8 is another one of these simple games that does get played a lot. I played it a handful of times. I didn't write the specific number down. It is a flip and write game that I thoroughly enjoy, that I own everything for. All expansions, the dry erase boards, everything for this game. And it's not the one you're thinking of. It's Welcome To, not Cartographers. I do pretty well at Cartographers for some reason. But Welcome To, I have not won a single game of it. Not a single game of Welcome to, and I've played about, from my statistics, I believe it was like 8 or 9 times. It's a fun little flip and right, and that's another thing I kind of went with this is like, is it a game that I play a lot because it's simple, or is it because I like it a lot? And so Welcome to I do like, but I play it a lot because it's one of those simple, easy to get to the table games.
Yeah.
I own multiple expansions, like I said. I had full of times, 8, 9, somewhere around there. 0 wins. I do atrocious at this game. My scores are like bottom of the barrel. I even looked through the gameplays of it, and my scores are like about 20 to 30 points away from the leader.
Makes sense.
And so I'm like, I do play bad at this one. It's not the heaviest of games that I have on this list, but I do enjoy it a lot. It's a simple flip and right. You have 3 decks of cards, and their cards are going to be flipped over, and you're going to either record a number based on what the card back of the deck is next to it. And so you're going to be doing that and writing your numbers on your little score sheet and stuff like that. I do like the Halloween version. There is a radioactive version for like zombies. There's just decorating for Halloween. There's a Christmas lights version of it where you're decorating for like Christmas or winter and stuff like that. I think it's the winter's edition. So it has a lot of cool additions. It has a lot of really neat stuff. It's very simple. And yet, for some reason, my brain just does not gronk it. I don't know why. I'm like, oh, I think I'm doing really good. And I lost by 30 points. Never mind.
Never mind. I did great. I beat my own personal best. That's still higher than everybody else.
Yeah, I've actually done it. I started, I was like, all right, I got my personal best. And I lost by 40 points. Okay, cool.
Oh, okay.
I got 82 and someone got 120 something on me. So, good. All right, we're cool.
I'm improving. Yeah. One of these years, I'll beat it. So I was looking through the stats like while you were talking, and I started chuckling because one of the ones, I have a 12% win rate on a game that I played more than 8 times. Hit me. I'm trash at my own game. That's hilarious. Sorry, I just had to share that. So this first one, the reason this is number 8 on my list is because it's a game I got fairly recently, and you'll know which one it is here in a bit. And I haven't even played it that many times, but I put it on the list for one specific reason. This is for Northwood. This is a solitaire game. Not only... so I was playing on Board Game Arena. Not only did I not win a single... Like, not only have I not won the game, I haven't won a trick, or like a full round of tricks. Like, I haven't accurately predicted a round of tricks yet. And to the point where when you're playing for Northwood, hey, APQ plays, when you're playing for Northwood after a certain number of rounds, Board Game Arena just asks, do you want to just give up? like, you don't have to finish this. Like, you can't win right now. You can still play it out, but you can't win. So you can give up if you want. And I didn't know that was a thing on the website until I found out. After it gave me, like, after the 3rd trick, I was like, oh wow, yeah, I'm really not doing good, am I? And they're like, no, you're not. I'm like, Board Game Arena, why are you talking to me? Yeah. So, For Northwood is my number 8. Because even though I haven't played it that much, and I do enjoy it, I haven't won a single round of tricks, like, correctly yet. I haven't adequately bid on it.
How do you not win a trick?
Well, no, what I mean is, like, so you have to bet how many tricks you're going for. I haven't done any of those correctly.
You get to look at the cards in your hand.
I know.
I could go really bad on this
one.
And
I'm okay at trick taking, but you have to get it right on the nose.
Yeah.
And yet I don't. I haven't. I can't. Yeah. And
you know what the trumpet
is.
Exactly.
I know. That's the thing. And I'm fairly decent at trick taking. And I play trick taking bidding games. I'm fairly decent at it. Yet for some reason.
You're fairly good at playing against other players, but playing by yourself, you suck at it.
Yeah, that AI is way smarter than me. I tell you. Oh my god.
I love For Northwood. I haven't played it enough to really make this list. I do need to play it more, but I was thinking about taking it with me when I went up to Denver, and I just forgot to because I knew there was going to be times where I was going to be by myself. So, but you know what? C'est la vie. I didn't take it. I had a much better time going to baseball games. So
that's. But you're by yourself doing a game. Yeah, it's fine.
All right, flip the coin.
Number 7.
It's me again.
Yep.
So this is one of my favorite games. Probably my favorite dexterity game.
Ooh.
And dexterity in general, I'm just not good at. I don't have the the wherewithal to be really good, like with trick shots and stuff like that. So, say Ice School. I can't do the trick shots with Ice School. My buddy's 10-year-old son can do better trick shots than I can in Ice School. So it's like, But the one I got on here, because I have a lot of games registered of it, I think about 10 or so, I have a 16% win percentage on here. Mm-hmm. And that is a game that we played a massive version of at our local con out here.
Yep, I knew this was going to be it. I didn't know you were going to put this on your list, but I knew, as you were saying, a dexterity game. I was like, "Yep, this is
this is tumbling dice." Yep. For some reason, I do okay in this game in a sense, like I can get the dice and keep them on the board, but they always come up like ones in the ×6 area or the ×4 area and stuff like that. So I really am bad at this game just because I'm not very good at dexterity. And it's funny, I was watching on like TikTok or Instagram, and somebody was actually playing like the loser has to wash the dishes or make dinner or something like that, and they were playing tumbling dice. I'm like, yeah, I would never do that because I cannot win this game.
You would do all of the chores.
Yeah, I would be doing all the chores. But yeah, I love the game of tumbling dice. I'm not a huge fan of dexterity either. There's a few that I do enjoy.
Love dexterity.
This one is one of them. I don't like stacking dexterity. I like the flicking and stuff like that. Like I liked that racing one. Pitch Car. I thought it was fine. I sucked at it, but I thought it was fine. Yeah. Same with this one. I'm really looking forward to the new one by Pandasaurus, which I just got my shipping notice for, so I should be getting it in soon. Nice. That is the haunted box top haunted house pinball or something like that.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to that one. But yeah, tumbling dice, I just, for some reason, I only win 16% of the time.
Yeah. Statistically. Number 7 for me. This game is like a melding of two different styles of game. And I know one half of this melding is why I'm trash at it. This is part bag building game, which I do fairly decently at. Mm-hmm. You know, most bag building or deck building games. Is it area
control?
Yeah, there is some in it. Yeah,
that's why.
That's the other half of it is that it's part chess. This is War Chest by AEG, which I love. I love War Chest. It's so good. The components are brilliant. They're amazing. All of the pieces feel good. The tokens go in the bag really well. Yes?
Well, I was just thinking, first it was a solo game. Now it's a 2-player game.
Yeah.
Is the next one going to be like a 3-player only game?
Nope. It might be 3 minimum, though, actually. That one might be 3 minimum. So, yeah, the War Chest, it's basically a combination of deck building or pool building, because you have tokens, like discs, poker chips.
Yeah.
And you're basically playing a strategy game style, like in chess. You're trying to control, like, the 4 of the 6 areas or whatever to win. And the first player to do that wins. But I am so trash at chess. And chess is not on this list because I don't particularly like it all that much. I respect it a lot. And I ran chess clubs and I taught chess to like students and whatnot, and they love it and I appreciate it. But I'm not a big fan of chess. And War Chess was kind of that solution to it because of that. Onitama was another solution, although I'm pretty decent at that one. And I like abstract strategy. But War Chess, yeah, I'm just as good at that as I am at real chess, except I enjoy it more. So that's going to be my number 7. War Chess by AG. Brilliant little area control game.
He likes that one too.
Yeah. The solution is Hive. That's fair. I don't know why I've never been good at Hive, and I don't know. I have a copy of Hive Pocket. ABQ Plays also says down with dexterity, and that you always carry Northwood in the backpack mainly because you forget to take it out. I always carry a deck of pairs in my car, so why not, right? Why not?
All right, moving to number 6.
Number 6 is, here we go.
Oh, me again.
This one
off. No, that's you. Okay.
Yep. So my number 6 is, I think, a 3 minimum, but it plays like 12 players or something like that. So this game is not the one you think it is. Because I know which one you think it is. I'm actually pretty good at that one.
I don't even know you haven't even given me a hint of what it is, so...
Well, that is 3 to possibly 12 players.
3 to 12?
Yeah, it's a wide range. This game was made in the 80s, and it is a very simple, kind of like series of battles, but everybody has an alien race that gives you a completely broken rule. Every version of this game that I've played, Cosmic Encounter, or Game of Thrones Iron Throne, or anything else like this, I've always enjoyed every time I've played. But man, am I so bad at this game.
No, it's because everybody follows the rule of kill the wizard first.
They must, right? Like, I played a very simple version of it at the shop, and I sat in. It was a hilarious time. But I had a very simple monster that all he does is just... His discs are worth 4 instead of 1. That's it. No other ability. But because it was just so out in the open, everyone was like, kill him! He needs to die right away. But I was an instant threat, and everyone was just trying to win around having to deal with me. It's like, guys, like, I could be part of this. I'll help you, like, win the battle. They're like, no. Like, that's fine. If I lose, it's worth it. I'm like, no, I can help you win it. I'm offering my strength. And, yeah, and it just wouldn't give it. Wouldn't take. And then same with Game of Thrones, that version. That works the same way. So you have this game-breaking ability. You have all sorts of fun intrigue. Just couldn't do it. Couldn't convince them. And everyone... I don't know why in games like this I'm seen like the threat. But I am, apparently. In Cosmic Encounter, I do awful in. I think I've sat in a game where everybody, except for, like, me and one other player, won. Like, everyone else all won together, except for me and one other guy. The game doesn't even have player elimination. I think I got eliminated somehow once before.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. What can I say? Cosmic Encounter. That's my number 6.
Because they're living by the rule, kill the wizard first.
That's
and so
right.
For people who don't know, he's the wizard.
Apparently.
So there's a rule in our game night. It's called kill the wizard first. And it's all became a meme for us because of Dragonfire. You remember that game? Because there was a card that always came up. It's kill the wizard first. He is playing the wizard character.
Yep. Yeah, that silly game.
Yeah, all right. So my number 6 is one of my favorite designers. A game I really enjoy from said designer.
Mm-hmm.
And a game I suck at so bad. I have a 20% win percentage on this game. It is... And the thing is like, I was looking at my scores on this game.
Yeah.
One of those statistics that I see this game. I always miss out on the win. That's the problem. It's not that I do bad in this game, the fact that I don't, I always come in last place.
Sure.
Is that I always miss out on the win. I'm like 2nd or 3rd place, depending on the player count. And this is Abyss from Bruno Cathala. I do really good at this game, but I still can't win.
I'm like the opposite on this game. It's like I win fairly often at Abyss, and I don't care for it.
Yeah. It's like, I really do enjoy this game. I love all the choices. I love the little push your luck up there, or the set collection on the 2nd level, and using all that stuff to pay for a lord. And the thing is, like, I cannot win this game. I've said I've won it 20% of the time, and I've played it about 20 times.
Yeah.
And I cannot, for the life of me, win. Yeah. For some reason, I always come in 2nd. I'm always the runner-up, never the winner. And the statistics tell me it's the truth. But Abyss is a very beautiful-looking game. It is a set collection game in a sense, because you're trying to unlock certain things by using cards to help you pay for those things, to get lords. Once you get your 3rd lord, they allow you to unlock a location, and you're just trying to get a certain amount of points. And I love every aspect, every little bit of this game that it does. By the way, the production value of this game, for as old as it is, that's like almost 10 years now if you think about it. I think it came out 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still one of the better production games out there. Yeah. But for the life of me, I don't know why. My brain just cannot push me over that hump to win the game a lot more. And so this is Abyss.
Cool. Number 5's now.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. I'll be starting us off. So this one, I haven't looked at the stats, and I wonder how actually truly bad I am at it. The reason I put it on my list is not so much that I'm necessarily bad at it, is that I know there are plenty of people that have figured out the system and done so much better than me, and it is also incredibly a difficult game. Me and my son love this game, and I still need to show you this at some point. This is Spirit Island, the co-op game where you are the spirits on there, and it makes perfect sense, but man, it's a tough game. I cannot describe that enough. It is a very difficult game to win, and we tend to play on one of the easier modes too. And even then, it's like it's less about how good I am at the game. It's more that I just have a hard time getting over that hump of like beating it, despite how much I really like it. This is in my top, like, I think 50 games of all time.
Yeah.
Just because of how much I really did enjoy it. But yeah, I mean, Spirit Island, I can't tell you how good I am at it. I'll take a look at my stats here in a bit, but yeah, I'm not in the top anything percentage of people who are good at this game.
ABQ cannot lose at this game.
You've never lost it, sir? How dare you? Now you're bragging.
Speaking of co-ops, and this is one of the ones I was telling you about that doesn't have that many playthroughs of it.
Mm-hmm.
One, because it's a long game. I've played it 4 times.
Okay.
And that's why it's sitting at my number 5. But I have a 0% win percentage at it for a co-op game, which is fine. You usually want to have like a 25% win percentage.
25 to 33 is what I aim for. Yeah.
So that's fine. But it's based on a book series I really enjoy. In fact, it's a book series that led me to one of my favorite authors because it was the game that actually led me to the book series.
Yep.
And this is The Reckoners from Navu Games. It is such a fun game. It's dice chucking. It's not the most strategic game per se. You can mitigate your dice, but it's very co-op. You have to work together as a team to decide what you're going to be doing because you guys can get eliminated or you can get beat up and then you lose the game to Steelheart. But it is such a fantastic game, but it's kind of like your Spirit Island. No matter what I do, I cannot win this game. I don't know why. I played it 4 times. I own a copy. It's way up there, though, so you can't see it. But it is very thematic. It is a very fun game. I thoroughly enjoy this game. It's probably in my top 100 nowadays. I don't know. I'd have to go through our top 100 again. Stay tuned. So... Spoilers. But yeah, I have a great time with this game. But the game just lets me know you suck.
Just so you know, no. You ain't gonna win. Sorry.
So for me, it is a fantastic game. I have a great time playing it. And I really enjoy it because it's one of the favorite games to play with Dammit Dom and Gamehead Geek. And you enjoy the game. You're just not interested in the thing is like... When we play it, we can talk about, like, oh, I know this character. I like this character a lot. Let me play this character. Ooh, we're fighting this guy. I hated this guy in the books and stuff like that. So we have this little inside knowledge, which really brings out the theme for us. Mm-hmm. But at its core, it's a dice rolling game. So take it with what you will.
Yeah.
But it's a fun game that I don't do well with.
All right. On to our number 4s.
Back to me. All right. So my number 4 is in my top 10 games of all time. I love this game. I have played this so many times. I can't even think. I've been playing this before I started keeping statistics. Because I think I picked a copy of this up in like 2016 or something like that.
Oh, wow.
So take that with what you will. I have played this countless times. Lots of times. I can't even beat the AI in this game. I have a 0% win percentage on my statistics, and I don't think I ever won it before I started keeping statistics.
Wow.
And this is viticulture.
This was like your number 1 game at some point.
For the longest time,
wow.
Yeah. And I cannot win at this game. I've never beat the Otoma. I have a 0% win percentages. And just like Abyss, it's another one of those where I always am like the runner-up. I just cannot get over that hump. I come in... second place to my wife a lot. I come in second place to our friends Angel.
Well, that's true in life.
Well, yeah,
regardless.
But this is just I cannot for some reason get the victory in this game. Yeah. I either in second place or last place. There is no in between for me. I can't get first place and I can't get third place. It's either first or last. That's it, or second or last. Runner up or really really bad at this game.
Yep.
But I do enjoy this game a lot. It is by far in my top 10. I think it's still like my number 5 or 6, something like that. It's been a while since we looked at that list, so but I do love this game a lot. I'm a big Stonemaier fan, and yeah, I just for some reason cannot win this game.
So my number 4, and you're gonna hate me a little bit for this, but every iteration I've played of this, it's always done the same thing. It's a co-op game. I've played a few times, done really well, and then I hit a wall and cannot get past that wall. Whether it's players dropping out or whether it's just me not figuring it out or playing the solo version of it, and just like I just can't figure out how to get past that. So once I hit that point, I haven't played it much after that. This is Gloomhaven and all of its iterations. Jaws of the Lion, I'm only 3 games in. Gloomhaven, the base game, I'm only a few games in. Even Buttons and Bugs, like I was doing great. I was like win, loss, forever on, right? And so it falls a little bit for me because of that, because there's always some kind of ramp that I'm just like I can't quite break over. And I think Buttons and Bugs, I haven't gotten to that point yet. I just haven't played it much more than I think I need to play it more. But in every iteration, Gloomhaven has always destroyed me in all of its iterations. Whether that's for players dropping out or whatever. But Gloomhaven, that's my number 4.
I'm actually really good at Gloomhaven. I think I have like
I know you are.
I think I have like a 60% win percentage on that one. And it's because I made when we started playing it as a group, we made the choice to treat it like an RPG. So we needed to have a balanced team. There needs to be a tank. There needs to be a healer. There needs to be like a tinker or something like that.
Some kind of ranged guy.
Yeah, set of range. So you just have to treat it like that. So like my favorite character playing in Gloomhaven is the Cragheart, because it's a tanky character, but it's the equivalent of what I like to play in Baldur's Gate 3 or other games like that, where it's kind of a paladin. You're a bit tanky, but you still have some healing abilities. And so I do like that with Gloomhaven. So yeah, I get it though. I get it.
Yeah, ABQ hears me. Yeah, I just can't get to the table. Like I played it with my son, and he wasn't a tank character, but he thought he was, and he ran straight on in. Maybe I need to try it again with him now that he's getting into Dungeons and Dragons. But yeah, I mean that's the same thing. Hey, Masma.
But yeah, no, it is interesting, and that you have to. That's how you have to treat it. It's supposed to be a board game version of an role playing RPG. This way, you get into your characters, but you have to be smart with how you play. Plus, you need, because that's why you got all your information.
Yeah.
And the modifier deck is basically the dice deck or the dice. So you have to treat it like it's D&D in a sense, where you need to role play your character and make sure you have a balanced team, or else you're gonna get your smart play.
Yeah, smart with how you played. I'm out.
That's just the rule with the way you got to do with Gloomhaven, and all. That's what I've noticed.
No, I know, and that was part of it for at least Jaws of the Lion. You know?
Yeah.
Because
your son went Leroy Jenkins.
Yep, Leroy Jenkins when he wasn't the tank. Thought he could be, but that's my number 4.
All right, moving on to our number 3s.
Number 3. All right, there we go. I'll be starting us off. So my number 3, this game, I'm really bad at, but I love it so much because the thing is, the game is designed so everyone is bad at it. That is 100%. This is the game. And what I mean by that, this is called Anomia. It's a party game. And it is designed on purpose to break your brain from switching from pattern recognition to categorization as fast as you physically can. And so all the way the game works is that you have a bunch of cards that have categories on them, and then you have some symbols on it. The symbols match other cards that are in the game. And you're just flipping a card in front of you, face up, flip, until 2 of the player's cards match. So let's say I flip over a honeycomb style, you already have it. That immediately triggers a duel where both those players have to name something in the other player's category. And so you're paying attention, and you're thinking like before, like mine might be shoe brands and yours might be condiments, right? That means that I need to name a condiment before you name a shoe brand. So I have to go mustard before you name Nike or whatever, right? And whoever gets it, or whoever is slower, has to take the card as the penalty. But that might again trigger something else. And so you'll just be flipping over cards and something out of door. And you can't. It's simple. It should be easier, but it's purposefully designed to make you difficult at that game. And there's times where I'll just space it, and there'll be a duel that'll involve me, and they'll take the card before I even realize that I got eliminated from the duel. Like, it's just like that quick. It's because it's like, whoa, wait, what? Hold on, what's going on here? I love it. It's so good, so satisfying. I know you're not a big fan of this one, but or at least I don't think I might not have made you play it before.
I'm not sure. It sounds familiar, but then it doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah, it's I adore this game, but it's just, man, everyone just feels so dumb at the end of it, and it's hilarious.
All right, cool. So my number 3 is my... It is also another one that was in my top 10, I believe, at one point in time. I do enjoy this game a lot. I don't know if it's going to stay in my top 10 because there's other games that do what it does a lot simpler and a lot quicker. But that is... for my statistics here, it says I've only played it 10 times, and I've only won twice, so I have a 20% win percentage. But I do love this game a lot. In fact, I have a big box version of this game because that's how much I like about it. I also have a card version of this game and a dice version of this game. And I still would rather go to the big version of this game because that's how much I really enjoy it. And this is Terraforming Mars. It's a fun little engine builder. I want to play more with some of the expansions that I have. I mainly just play base game. I do like Prelude a lot. I just got the second set of Prelude, or Prelude 2, which I want to try out. That just gives you more starting points. I played Venus. I played the map packs. I haven't done Turmoil. I'm scared of that one because there's a lot on that one. I heard it adds time to the game, and this game doesn't need time added to it.
No, it's
also
as it is.
One of the more ugly games I own, even though it is a fun game. It's a fantastic game, but it's not a looker. It, by and far, is not a looker. But, man, because of how long it is, it doesn't hit the table. And like I said, there's other engine builders that could hit the table more often than this one because of the length of this game. But I love it. It is a fantastic game. I have a great time playing it. One of my favorite memories of it is you and me at the same time just decided to brute force the game to try to trigger the end game. I think you ended up winning that version of the game. And that's the thing is like, it's another one of those that I can get close to winning and I never win. I think part of my win percentage in that game, one of those games is...
by accident?
By accident, yeah. It was one of those things where it's like, oh, that's right, this gave me negative points, and I squeaked a win because somebody played too many negative point cards. It's one of those things, but I do love this game. It's fantastic. It's a fun game. One, it's too long, and two, I just can't win.
Yep. That makes sense. All right. Our number 2s. That's you.
All right, it's me. So... These next 2 games are by far, outside of Gloomhaven, as I mentioned earlier, are 2 of the most played games in my statistics. And I know one of them I play a lot before I started taking statistics, and that's going to be my number 1 game. But this one is the older of the 2 games, but it's relatively new, my version, or my copy of this said game.
Yeah.
You mentioned it earlier with 4 Northwood. You're pretty decent at trick-taking games. I'm very familiar with trick-taking games. I enjoy them. I'm not the best at them, but I have a great time with them. This is my favorite trick-taking game, so if you know the podcast very well, you know which one I'm about to say. Little Devils. And so I have an 11% win percentage in this game. For some reason, just get obliterated in this game. It's like, I play a card, it's like, okay, I think I mathed this correctly. I don't think there's the 15. Oh, Jesus. There's the 5-pointer by itself. Yep. And there will be times when I play this game, I'm like, all right, I'm doing okay. I've only taken 5 points or 3 points or 4 points, and then I get that one round. Oh, here's 25 points. You've got to be kidding me, because it's golf rules. You want a lower score, and so because every time you take a trick, you got to count out the little devils that are on the card, and those are points for you. You don't want points, and for some reason, I'm like, okay, yeah, all right, 7, 8, cool, 5. And 25. Well, there it goes. I am no longer in first place. I am in the running to be the skunk, in a sense. Basically, in this game, I am going to the bad place because of how bad I'm doing here. But yeah, no, I have a great time with it. And it's funny because I put on my list here, my little cheat sheet for myself. I'm on a losing streak. Yeah. I have lost the last 8 plays of this. So... I thoroughly enjoy this game. It's one that gets busted out all the time because sometimes it's just after like some heavy games that we've been playing lately. It's nice to just bust this out and just have shenanigans, fun. This is the go-to game really for my game group, my other game group on Saturdays or Sundays right now because their kids are in soccer. That's what we play. We have a good time playing it. It just leads to a lot of shenanigans. It's one that I take on trips with us. When we went to go see Hamilton and Albuquerque, this is what we played in the Airbnb. And it's one of those games that remind me, growing up, my parents used to play trick-taking games with their friends. And so that's why I told my mom, this is the games that we played with our Debbie and Bill. Those were her best friends when I was growing up. And they still are. But this is how I do it as an adult now. I have my own Debbie and Bill. We're playing trick-taking games. This is what we do. And so, Little Devils. And it's one I've shown my mom play, and she's played this, and I got my butt handed to me. So it's one of those things. It's a fantastic game.
Yeah, and then ABQ Plays just want to respond to the comments. Yeah, the Terraforming Mars spin-offs, the card game is really fun. That's the better version of those. Dice game I've heard bad things about. You don't encourage that one. It's worth trying out. But Masmo, same thing. Try out the Ares Expedition. Pretty good.
And I think they're also talking about Little Devils that they need to try it. So.
Oh yeah.
It's fantastic. You can find a copy of it. It's out of print. It's kind of hard to find. I've been trying to find a second copy of it because Gamehead Geek, this is one of the few trick-taking games he'll play. So.
Yeah, exactly. So my number 2. There's a lot of co-op games on my list just because, and I'm okay losing co-ops. But this one has... This was the first one that I saw that just perfectly did press your luck in a co-op game. And I love press your luck in co-op now.
I thought you did better at this game.
I'm not the worst at it, but I'm not great at it.
Is this Firesides?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so.
This is Hot Shots by Fireside Games. Mm-hmm. And the thing is with this game, the reason why I put this on my list is because, first off, Justin DeWitt, devilishly evil, like when it comes to co-op games. Like they mess with you in such a good way.
The thing is, he also makes very simplistic co-ops, him and Anne-Marie.
Yes.
And yet they're very strategic and very smart. Like Ultimatch is another fine...
right.
It's a lot easier than Hot Shots. But
it's a lot easier. And the thing is about those is that there's so many cool ideas, but because of how simple that Press Your Luck is, because it's a co-op and it becomes so intense. Like when you're sitting there, you're like, all right, I already have 3 symbols. I can only add like a fire break or whatever. Should I keep going? And everyone just looks at you like... You're like, I mean, you're like, judging by how you roll.
Yeah, that's the thing. Right. I've played games with him where he's got to roll dice, and I've played Hot Shots with him too. Yep. Do not let him push his luck with the dice. It's not going to work out for you.
No, it won't. And you roll like trash anyway. You wouldn't even get to the 3rd spot, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same way.
It's
We're
so
screwed.
bad with us. Yeah. Man, I want to go get this one to the table again. Every time I talk about it, I love how much it is. But it's just, that's such a brilliant idea of like putting Push Your Luck on a co-op game. Because it's like, we all know what we need to do. We all know we're going to have to push for a bit.
Yeah.
Like, we could get really lucky at the beginning and hope for the best, but no, there's going to be a point in the game where everyone's like, oh god. And you're gonna get blamed for the minute you roll badly. Like you had any choice in it. It's so awesome. It's so bad. And I've seen it go out of control really fast.
You're going to get blamed for the way you roll because we told you not to roll again.
Yeah, Hot Shots by Fireside Games. Absolutely love it.
I'm trying to think, what was the game that we recently played with the dice and it's just like, oh god, Danny's rolling, we're screwed. I can't remember what it was.
It was that superhero one with the map.
The superhero one with
wait, was it? Dagger? Marvel Dagger was one of them.
Oh, yeah, Marvel Dagger. That was one where you couldn't get the freaking crit for the...
I didn't get a single crit, like except for like right at the end when it didn't matter.
And there was another one. No, it was the Borderlands game that we just played with. Geek. It was a co-op.
That one was shenanigans. ABQ Plays Hot Shots is so good. I heard that they're trying to make a new edition of it, and I hope they do.
If you can find a copy, check it out. It is a fun game.
It's super underrated. Like, not enough people have played that game. You need to. Yeah. It was so good. Anyway,
and it's very thematic, too.
That's right. On to our number 1s. Here we go.
Starting with you.
So my number one is one of my favorite games that I am terrible at because it needs some smart card play, which I'm not ultimately terrible at, but it requires area control. And this is why. Do you already know which one it is?
No, but
a card game with area control.
When you say area control, well, it could be kind of few things because there's
condottiere. Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
Just because, and it's like the area control shouldn't even be a thing in it, right? You win if you get 5 regions under your control or 3 adjacent regions. That's it. So really, it's just a point system. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It shouldn't matter. The area control is not part of the game. It's just a scoring mechanism. But because of the existence of area control in it, I am trash at this game. Like, I felt like if you took the board out and you were like, all right, first to 5 wins the game, I would destroy you all. But because there's somehow a little map with some tokens on it, I'm so screwed. It's awful. That one is so good. Condottiere. I have so much fun playing it.
It's a fun game.
Yeah, Masmo and ABQ Plays both like it. I know you guys are like ho-hum on it a little bit, but
I was fine with it. It's
just so
ugly,
smart how it works. Yeah, it's ugly. It doesn't look all that great. But functionally, it's so fun.
It's sound. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Condottiere, and God, I'm so bad at that game.
All right, so I looked up because I still have my top 100 from the last time we did it back in early 2023. My Terraforming Mars was my number 5 game of all time, which I suck at. Viticulture was my number 7. Little Devils, I think, was in like an 11 or something like that. But my game I'm going to talk about right now was my number 2 game of all time. And it is one of my most played games of all time. My statistics say I've played it 28 times. Probably about 40 plays, honestly, because I was playing it before the statistics really started taking place. And I have a 25 win percentage on this game.
Which isn't that bad.
It isn't that bad. But because it's my number 2 game of all time, I am about 30 to 40 games played of it, and I only have a 25 win percentage of it.
Yep.
It's not even funny. Again, this is another one of those games where I check the statistics. I've come in last so many times in this game. It is not even funny. And I think some of those wins that I have was against the easy Otoma. So you know it's a Stonemaier game when I'm talking Otoma.
Yeah.
This is Wingspan. I love this game. I love this game a lot. I know a lot of people are like hemming or hawing on this one. You're a hipster when it comes to this game because of the hype on it. My issue with this game is I love it, but it hates me.
Yeah.
It thoroughly hates me.
You love it. It don't love you.
And I know part of my problem with this game is because I always try to do different things as I'm playing it. And yes, I have played Wormspan. I suck at that game too. I do a little bit better on there because there's a little bit more moving parts on that aspect. But it's one of those games I'm always willing to play. It's another one of the games that I have a big box version of. In fact, 3 of my top 4 of these ones, I have the big box version of it. Viticulture, Wingspan, and Terraforming Mars. But yeah, and you can't get a big box version of Little Devils because it's just a little tin.
Yeah.
But no, I enjoy this game. I play this one a lot. It's, in fact, one of my wife's favorite games. I have every single expansion for this game. So this tells you how I thoroughly love this game.
Yep.
But again, it hates me. It cannot stand me. And I cannot win for the life of me. I've tried the egg playthrough of it where people say just go heavy on eggs, fill up your bird nest, and all this and that. I still lose the game. I go tucking. I do the tucking engine where I feed all my birds and I just concentrate on one section and just go down that row, feed all my birds, stash all the points that I possibly can. I suck at that one too. So no matter what gameplay I choose to do, I've filled my entire board with birds and I still lost the game. Yep. So I just cannot win this game as much as I want to, as much as I love it. This game is like, no win for you today.
No win for you.
But yeah, so Wingspan is my number 1. game I suck at.
So we hope you enjoyed today's episode. Yeah, this is a ridiculous list. And like I said, it was pretty hard for me, but Condotio was the number one. That was the only one that, out of the top of my head, I was like, that's one I'm trash at. But man, have I enjoyed it. I don't think I've won it yet.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
Because I think, damn it, Dom won it when we played it that one time.
Yes.
I've only played it once, so
yeah.
I thought it was great. I thought it was a fine game. But the problem with when we played it, you showed some better games that night. So I'm like, it was probably like middle of the road for me in those games. Because I think we played this at your house. It's when you had a host game night because your wife was out of town. And we played it there. And I remember we also played a Sid Saxon game. And you know my love for Sid Saxon games.
Love on some Sid Saxon, that's right.
So, yeah, but is a Wingspan was on there. Going to Masmo's, I have played Wormspan. I do like it a lot. I still always go back to Wingspan for some reason, but Wormspan is a fantastic game. I love the
He's a big fan of bird watching. He's not as big of a fan of dragon watching.
Yeah, Game of Thrones kind of ruined dragons for me. I'm saying.
Oh no.
No, but ABQ plays. He is a hipster when it comes to that game too. I get it. My birds refuse to eat. Draw small boards. Deck. No. Yeah. No. That happens to me all the time. I was so happy the first time I ever played this game. I got the Greater Roadrunner. If you guys know, we're from the state of New Mexico.
Yep.
That is our state bird. I'm like, all right, I got the Roadrunner. Now I got to feed the Roadrunner. And everything was bigger than him.
Yep.
I was like, well, he can't eat that. He can't eat that. Yep. It's like, yeah, dragon watching is a bit more dangerous. I do like the fact that you have to excavate the caves before you could put more dragons in there. I like the fact that you have like the ability to feed the baby dragons, and then they become more points once they're fully fed. I love everything about Wingspan, but for some reason I just keep going back to Wingspan. I love the artwork in that game too. Beth Sobel, and I can't, honestly, for the life of me, can't remember the other two ladies' names. They don't do a lot of other board gaming art. That's probably why I can't remember them.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, it is fantastic. What I like about both Wingspan and Wormspan, Elizabeth Hargrave and Connie Vogelman. So I love the fact that you're getting more women designers, very popularized too at that.
Yes.
So fantastic games. And the reason why it gets played a lot, it's one of my friend's favorite game, one of my wife's favorite games, and one of my favorite games. So it gets played a lot. Yeah. I just can't win at it. So, but yeah, with that being said, this was a fun one, and it's spooky season. So I like to make it, like I always tell you...
Deep Space D6 is one of my lesser wins.
Yeah. So and the reason why I came up with this one, and we were joking about it too, is like, we're in the spooky season.
Impact.
We want to do this one. And it's, why don't we make our own personal horror story? So that was a little fun thing about
Trash
that one
Pandas,
too.
I'm at a 25%. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, we want to thank you for listening in. If you ever want to email us, you can at everydayboardgames2020... coming second is about, yeah, right. Everydayboardgames2020 at gmail.com. Whether that's to enter in future contests for possible future giveaways, hint, hint, or whether that's to just say hello or give us ideas for future episodes. Also, we try to make some silly content for Instagram.com/everydayboardgames, so go follow us on that as well.
As well as all video re-uploads and reviews are found on YouTube under youtube.com/@everydayboardgames. And if you like what we do, there are 3 things you can do to help us grow on the platform. Subscribe if you're not. Like the video, and comment down below and tell us your thoughts on the subject.
And also, if you want to join us like our friends ABQ Plays and Masmo and anybody else who joined us on today's talk, we love live audiences and we love getting your opinions on it and comments on it. We film this live at twitch.tv/everydayboardgames, generally on Mondays, but sometimes it changes.
Yeah. As well as all audio versions are found on most podcast platforms under Everyday Board Games Podcast. This includes Spotify, Amazon Music, Podbean, and Apple, and they all release on Mondays as well.
I want to thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I've been your host, Daniel.
And I've been your host, Daniel.
And we want to thank you for listening to Everyday Board Games.
And remember, every day is a good day for board gaming.